Hey guys, Andrea here, and I am going to share with you my Disneyland album. I chose a red and white polka dot album. This is from Becky Higgins. It's one of the Project Life 12 by 12 binders, and I think it's from the Honey collection. I'm not sure. It was on clearance at Michael's for $9. I've had my eye on this for a long time, and it was really perfect. It's not overly Disney, but it kind of reminded me of Minnie Mouse, so I thought it was appropriate. And I am going to keep my Disneyland album separate from my Project Life album. I realize there's still a lot of room in here, but I didn't know how much room I was going to need, so I don't know. Maybe I'll end up putting it in with the end of one of my albums, where it fits in with the days and stuff, but for now, it's going to be in this album, and I will just walk you through the layouts and some of the different things I did and some tips. So I started with a basic title page. This is just design F, but I chopped it in half, so it's just a 4x6 and then 4 3x4s. And I printed a 6x8 photo of us in front, and then I just sliced it in 4 so that I can put it I could put it in the front. And then I had a card that was the card behind this is it's a gray background with a white castle. And then I took a piece of vellum, I cut it to size, and then I printed our hashtag on the piece of vellum, and then used my tiny attacher to attach the card to the vellum. And that's just my title page. And then when we go in here, I've got a full spread that is about getting there. So I used everything from here is from Gossamer Blue. It's a mixture of the main kit and one of the add-ons. I forget which one, but I will make sure to link it in my blog post. And so I used some of these clear vellum, or no, they're not vellum. They're like a clear plastic acrylic, but they're real thin. They're not like they're not too thick like the acrylic pieces that we all love right now. But I've got a lot of different pieces from the kits and the paper. And then I've used also the screenshot of my Google Maps directions to get us there, and I made a point to take certain pictures of different signs and stuff. And that is it there. This page is half is in pockets and the other is just a large 12 by 9, and I just left it whole, and I realize it's the same photo, but I kind of wanted that to be in the very beginning as the title, like as the opening, but then I also wanted it to be part of the album, so I used it again. And you can do that. That's okay, right? So a lot of the cards that I'm using in this album, I will have linked in the description of the video, and also I have links within the blog post. And it's all from one collection called Project Mouse. And I really just wanted something simple that wasn't too themey, I guess, because we didn't do any character stuff. We were a little bit limited. So I just wanted some kits that were more generic, but reflected Disney and the things that you do when you're at Disneyland. So on this page, I included a 4x6 that just says today, and it's kind of in the Disney colors with I really liked the blue that was part of this kit. And the reason is because the skies while we were there were just really gorgeous and clear. So a lot of my photos have that same blue in them, and I just wanted to keep a little bit of that theme going. So I included that card. I have a picture of me holding up the tickets, but then I also included the actual tickets, and I just flipped them over so that you could see what they were. And you can see our names, because I thought that was really cool that we could write our names on them, and then you know, they scanned them every time you got in, and it was just a part of going to the park that I remembered fondly, and having to get the tickets out, and I gave, you know, the boys their tickets to get them scanned, and it was just a cool part of it. So on the other side of this 9x12 is another photo that I took, and I did take a lot of pictures of the detail that I really enjoyed about Disneyland, and one of them was this Coca-Cola sign. If you know, if you've ever heard, I'm not sure I've mentioned it, but I collect Coca-Cola things. So seeing a sign like this and being able to capture it was really cool. And so on the other side of this, I just used some of the other detailed photos that I took from the park. So we stopped and did a little foot shot there over this Disneyland sewer manhole, I guess, sewer cover. And then just a photo of Marshall on the train and the top of the, what do you call it? The station. So the inside of the station while we waited, which is very cool. I love all the detail. Disneyland is a very clean, pretty place. They make it very easy to take pictures. So I had fun doing that. And then I just thought that this little mailbox was so cute. I always wondered if people put things in there. Kind of makes me wish I would have. The other side is, here, okay, and then before I get going on this, if you read the blog post, you know how I organized the album. So in case you haven't read that yet, I will explain it here, but I organized the album by land. So I just couldn't figure out another logical way to organize or assemble the album, so I did it by land, even though we, you know, went to Fantasyland every night. And we did Tomorrowland, you know, every day. I couldn't do it chronologically just because I didn't feel like the pages would be cohesive at all. So I stuck with keeping the lands together because the colors matched, and then I could use similar themes. So this is Fantasyland. So we did teacups, and I wrote down this little card. You know, I used it because it was red, and there was some red in the pages here. And so I just wrote down the ones that we did and checked them off. And then for the opening, I usually took a shot of the land, something that represented the land, and then I did a larger print. So one tip is that I didn't realize until I was making my albums that I made all of my larger prints 9x12. But in reality, if your print is going to be this way, it needs to be 8x12. So I didn't crop properly when I developed them, but I did, you know, it worked out. All I did was I just, you know, had to cut off an inch at the top, which was fine. But just for the future, I would have to remember that, and I just wanted to pass that along to you. So on the opposite side, that was Fantasyland. That was pretty much all that there was. So on the other side, I kind of combined Frontierland and Adventureland because for us, we moved through them kind of interchangeably. So some things will be Frontier, some things will be Adventure, but I usually kept a ride together in a layout like I did here with Big Thunder Mountain. I couldn't, because I had pictures that were such different orientations, I decided to just do a full page layout, and I decided to stick with a grid format for the full page layouts because it kept me from having to think too much about being super creative all the time with all of the layouts, that keeping it in just kind of an interesting grid, and then it allowed me to just throw some different elements on it that made it fun with the right colors and stuff. So this was Big Thunder Mountain. Oh, and okay, so this card was a freebie I found on Pinterest, which I think is what led me to the Project Mouse collection. So, and I do apologize about that lovely sound behind us, but my puppy is chewing on a Gatorade bottle and it makes her happy, so I will allow her to do that because otherwise she'd be barking and we wouldn't like it. So Here is my spread about Indiana Jones. So I made a 6x6 of our fast passes, and then just a few of the cards that came in the kit that I purchased. And this was I believe this was a 4x6. Nope, it was a 3x4. It was just what am I trying to say? Landscape. So I just chopped off the top and the bottom so that it fit within the space I was looking for here, because I kept this one full. Actually, I think I cut off, this one was a 4x6, and I think I chopped off just a little on each edge so that I had similar space. A lot of the photos, not a lot, okay, so a few of the photos that I felt like were important photos, I put text on them before I printed them. Because I really wanted the album to be simple. I didn't want to do a ton of embellishments, and I didn't want to clutter it with stuff. And I realized some of my things obviously have embellishments, and not all of the pages are my favorite pages, but like, I suck at the sequins. I don't know. I need a class. I need a sequins class. I don't know. But anyway, so you'll see this throughout. Just because I was trying to do a little bit of journaling ahead of time, because I just didn't know what I was going to get into when I got to the album. So you'll see that I've used text on photos as a bit of journaling. And then this was Pirates and Jungle Cruise, so just a couple of pictures with the family and a little bit of journaling. And then here we went to Tarzan's treehouse. So also you'll notice that there are not a lot of roller coaster pictures in here, because my kids are not roller coaster people. So we did a lot of chill rides and things of that nature, which is fine. We absolutely had a blast doing the things that we did. So, and I really wanted to just capture what we did, and you know, maybe we'll have another opportunity to do some of the bigger rides at another time, but if they were not into it or interested, I wasn't going to force them to do it. So we just did the things that we were interested in, and it was super fun. So this over here is one of my favorite pages. It was a cool boat ride. I mean, it was obviously just a steamboat on a track that went around the little water lake river thing, but the boys liked it. It was chill, and I think it was mid-morning one day. We were waiting for our fast pass for Indiana Jones, so we just needed to kind of kill a little bit of time. So, but here I took the 8x12 and cut it so that it fit into the pockets. And I actually did another tutorial that's listed within my blog post, and you could probably find it, you know, if you check my other videos on YouTube. But some people were, you know, saying that they were always afraid of cutting the photos up, and you know, I used to be too, and I always was weirded out when it kind of crossed over people's faces. But I think that for this particular photo it works, and only because it doesn't cut right into the middle of either of their faces, and it cuts in the middle of mine, but I think because I'm wearing glasses, it ended up working. I think that if it cut across my eyes, I probably wouldn't have liked it, and I probably would have scrapped the idea of doing this and used the 4x6 that I also printed and found another way to make a page. But I think because I was wearing glasses and it went right over my face like that, I felt okay about it. So you've got to decide if it's okay for you to cut your pictures like that. And you know, the way I look at it is it's just a piece of photo paper. So I can always have it reprinted. I could always do something else with another size picture, and I do that sometimes. Like with these larger photos, I also printed them in 4x6 so that I had the option depending on you know, what page size came next, and I had to always figure out like what was coming after that so that I could use a page design that would have worked for both sides. So I just had this picture and these two cards that I used. Oh, and also all the cards that I used from the kit, I printed them just like I did with all of my photos, and I put them on 12x12 mixed up 4x6s and 3x4s and put them on 12x12s and had them printed on photo paper from Persnickety Prints. So they all turned out glossy, like, you know, matte finish, like a photo. So the journaling that I did all had to be with a Sharpie so that it dried super fast. So keep that in mind. If you ever need to print on photo paper for your cards. For me, it was just easier than taking them to, you know, Kinko's or something like that, because I was already printing all of my photos, and I figured what's you know, 4 or 5 more sheets of 12x12s if I can get all of the cards that I'm going to use on there. So and it just worked for me. Okay, so the other side, we get to Tomorrowland. So like on this one, I put the land right on the photo. So again, I printed it 9x12, which ended up working out really perfectly, but I'll need to be really careful, and we'll probably have to reinforce these holes. You know, it depends on how many times people go through the album, but I would have preferred to have it be a little taller, and it's something I learned from doing this, so I'll make sure I do it differently next time, but it was a learning experience, and that's fine. So this was just some of the things that we did in Tomorrowland, and all these cards here are actually from the same collection, but just a different set. So I did buy a specific set for Tomorrowland because that was our favorite land, and it's the one that looks the most different from all the other lands, in my opinion. So there really wouldn't have been a way to combine any of those other cards into the Tomorrowland, because I just felt like it's so futuristic and has such a different feel that I just bought another set of cards that was specific to Tomorrowland, and I'm glad that I did. So this 4x6, I just cut it in half because it worked for the space that I had, and then I tried to mix up the lights and the dark so that they it's not too light heavy or dark heavy in one spot. So, and then on the other side of this, I did a layout. So I didn't have another full photo for Tomorrowland, so I did a layout, and this was all Star Tours. So you used some gold, and because this card came in the Tomorrowland set, I took the gold ideas and just threw them around a little bit. This card was actually a 3x4 that said totally worth the wait, but I ended up splitting it and cutting it to size and making it more of an embellishment. And then the other side here is another Design F that I used the whole page for, and this was all just about building the lightsabers for the boys. And that was really, really fun. I don't know, if you talk to the boys, I bet you they'd say that was their favorite part about Disneyland, was building the lightsabers. Okay, so California Adventure, the opening photo, I mixed it up. Sometimes I made it into a layout, sometimes I cut it up by itself, and sometimes I left it full. So you'll kind of see a variety of that. And I loved that they had the card set's called Day in the Park. So there's a lot of different things like this, like what was the weather like? What did you know, was it a good day? How were the wait times? What were your favorite rides? Like, there's just some really cool card ideas within the few sets that I bought. So I was really happy with just kind of having that direction and not having to worry about making my own cards, basically, or making my own inserts for any of these days. So I did have a 4x6 of this photo that I originally was going to use, but then this one, see, this one only says, well, you can only see the adventure because I'm just holding it like taking a selfie, so we couldn't get the background. So since this one said Disney California Adventure, I decided to use this one as my full intro photo instead of this one. So that's kind of the reason why I print in the two different sizes, just so that when I get there, then I can have the option and do what feels right. So then I really liked this kind of retro theme. It went really well with some of the things that we did when you first get into California Adventure. It's got that 40s feel, and I kind of wanted to capture that with the cards, and you know, the photo of us in the front of the car with the trolley ride. So that was kind of cool. That was my favorite part, by the way, is that just that downtown-ish part of California Adventure, the 40s jazzy part. I could live there, and I could do without Disneyland, to be honest. So here's this is a bit of kind of randomness from the days that we were at California Adventure. So just some walking, the two young boys with Grandma, me and Gibson, my sister-in-law, and her little boy, my nephew. And I just wanted to capture some of the feelings of the day and what we did. So this card came from that kit. You can talk about the weather. You can say where you ate for the day, what souvenirs you bought. It's just kind of a cool way to document the little details. And then just keeping with the color scheme. Over on the other side was, we did Goofy Sky School, so I kind of just did this half as that because he really liked it, but we ended up not being able to go on it again that day. And then a couple of things from Bugs Land and Little Mermaid and the swings that I went on with my sister-in-law and my nephew. And then my second favorite part is Paradise Pier because it's just gorgeous. So I did this one in a and cut it up into the pockets and just made the top real simple. I didn't have any other photos that I could use up here, so I just used a vellum overlay from one of the Gossamer Blue kits, and then also there was a sticker set that matched that that collection, so I just used it over here so that it kind of evened it out. And I thought it was real nice because there's some really pretty flowers down here, and I didn't really have anything else to use. And when I saw this and then I saw the colors, I thought, okay, well that's what I'm going to use, and it's just simple enough. And then so this is just a shot that I took as we were walking around on the boardwalk, and I thought, oh my gosh, the roller coaster, the palm trees, the lights, the sky, everything was just so cool. So I knew I needed to use this one as my as one of my feature pictures. And then the other side is my view from the swings, which I will be honest was not as fun as I remembered. It's a little more than I remembered. The going up and the down and just being kind of weightless and not being able to look down really. But anyway, I was super happy with the shots that I got. So I was perfectly happy. And just one thing that I really enjoyed about Disneyland was just how nice everybody was. And Gibson and I stopped to take a picture in front of this waterfall, and we were just gonna take a selfie. We were just gonna get our faces and see how much of the waterfall we could get back there. And a man and his young daughter stopped and just said, would you like us to take your picture? And I thought, you know, wow, they were on their way somewhere and they stopped, and he did such a great job of making sure we were in focus, and he took 3 of them and you know, had me check them out before he and his daughter continued on walking. I just thought that was really cool and was just so happy that we were able to get a shot like this. So next time, bring in a selfie stick, because this picture was in front of right here, so there's no way we got any of that in our shot if I'm just using the length of my arm. So I saw people using them, and I thought, yeah, that's probably something that would have been really helpful. And then on this side, this is Cars Land. So this is when we went to Radiator Springs, and I took another photo of our fast passes because these are things that I posted on Instagram. And Marshall's little face, he was very nervous about this ride. He did not know what to expect. And this was his face prior to starting. And then when we got off the ride, he said it was very awesome, and it was his second favorite ride. So I was really happy that he was brave enough to go on that, and that he really did like that we went a little fast. So this one was real fun to do because the colors didn't go super well with what I had. So, you know, I had this photo and then this photo, and you know, there's orange and blue here, and that was cool, and there was kind of the blues here and the blue here, which is what tied it all together. But then, you know, I did throw in a little purple and then made some yellow and orange go up around, and so this was a real fun, challenging one to do. When the pictures don't always match, it's always a bit of a challenge. This spread here is probably one of my favorites because these are photos that I thought I'd be able to incorporate into the days, but I ended up grouping them all together, and then really loved how it turned out. So it's basically just all about the hotel and breakfast, and just kind of the extra photo of the fireworks, which was really cool. So I used the June Gossamer Blue kit, the Life Pages kit, and I think my favorite part is the pie chart, and just documenting the how much of each thing we did during our trip. And you know, something like this that was real sweet was, you know, I brought a box of Legos for Marshall to play with in the hotel, and when we took our breaks in the middle of the day, the sun was just coming right in here, and he was playing with his Legos on the floor, and I just that was really fun. And then another thing that I like to do is to keep the hotel keys. So they were actually the inspiration piece for the colors of the layouts, for the color of this layout. Last page is getting home, which is really awesome. So we have a picture of Gibson took a picture of me driving. I saved the receipts, and I just stapled them onto a card, and I included the MapQuest, or not MapQuest, the Google Maps thing from our way home, and then I used a little flare from the Gossamer Blue, one of the Gossamer Blue July kits, and then all these puffy stickers and the stars are from the same kit. So it was really cool to use some traveling embellishments, because we don't travel a lot, we don't go many places, so it was really fun to be able to use those. And then I've only been to Bugs Land once, but I never realized there was this, when you're exiting the land, it says bye. And so, it was dusk and the color wasn't real great, but I took the shot because I knew that I was going to use it at the end of the album. I just thought it was the perfect little way to say goodbye to our trip. And then I just don't have anything on the other side of that photo, and that's my album. I hope that you liked it, and we will talk soon. Bye.